Hello, everyone. It's Mike from Downtown Comics, and I'm here as always with James Rossman. James, how we doing?
Doing good, Mike. How about you?
Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks, hasn't it? Yeah. So we're going to get caught up on some stuff. As always, we're going to talk about books shipping the last week of July 30th, 2025. And like, sharing, and subscribing is always important. We're, what did we say? 3 away from 400.
Yep.
Love those even numbers. We want to go over it. But hey, let's get to 300 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, but you're watching these videos, please do so. Doesn't cost anything. And then share this around. I'm sure you have friends that like comics and maybe want to hear what we have to say. All right, let's get started. What are we going with first?
Yeah, so first up is the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special.
Okay, yeah, we both read this one. And 5th week of the month, both companies, DC a lot, does one-shots, annuals, like it's kind of their skip week and stuff like that. So that was kind of what was this week for both companies.
I thought so, because there wasn't a whole bunch that came out.
Yes, we had a lot of customers come in, hey, there's nothing in my file this week. Yeah, because there's almost no ongoing titles. Okay, so Justice League Dark Tomorrow special. So this was based off the end of the We Are Yesterday crossover, right? So it's kind of an epilogue and a lead-in to what's coming up in the fall. So, yeah, take us through it.
So, the overall gist of this is there are these, like, various time travelers who have basically been targeted, like, for death, essentially.
Yep.
So, but, like, I won't name off who, but we do see, hear about, like, what deaths have already... towards the beginning of
there's some bigger names if you're into the DC lore that you'll recognize that have been taken off the table. And of course the bad guys have the big Omega on their forehead, and they got that shadow looking thing from the Flash comics, right? Because they're kind of the same. They're like time wraiths or something similar to that.
Essentially. But there's also this other, like, helmeted traveler that I don't think we get a name.
I think. Okay, this is one of my questions. Is it a he or a she? Because at one point in the dialogue, the person references them with a female pronoun, but yet they're drawn and they look. Looks very masculine, even though it's in a suit of armor. So I'm not really sure, I guess. But anyway, I think Legend is the name that they want.
You're right. And I even have that written down.
Okay. So Legend, but we don't know who it is. They reference that we should know, or they don't want to tell us because it would ruin the time stream or something. It's one of those known characters, but we don't know yet. So I guess there's some context clues that maybe could give you a leg up, again, if you're into the DC lore, to guess who it's going to be. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and so supposedly, this Legend character gets to the Watchtower, basically tells the Justice League, like, what's going on, and stuff like that, and basically saying that the time streams are in jeopardy. And so Legend and Mr. Terrific basically put together a team, essentially. And I won't say who those people are either, but they're essentially put together to.
Well, I mean, it seemed like to me at the end. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but this is a new Legends of Tomorrow team.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly.
So
what
I mean, they're just creating a new Legends of Tomorrow team. So yeah, if you're into that, that's what they're doing basically, because they have the Wave Rider.
Yeah, I was just
in it and stuff like that, and then by the end. Yeah, there's a reason why they're all together and stuff like that. So interesting, some interesting mix of characters.
I think this was a lot of times, and tell me if you agree with this, but like after an event happens and if there's one shots, it's like they're kind of like calmer issues. But this one
usually they use it to take a breath and kind of dissect what happened. Kind of thing. Yeah. So as an epilogue, but this is both an epilogue and the start of something, because obviously it's ramping up to the next phase of this. Darkseid is name dropped, and obviously the Omega on the foreheads means that it's a Darkseid thing, and it's possibly a Legion of Superheroes thing, and it's a time traveling thing, and
so it could be huge.
And knows what else? So there's a lot going on, but really the book is just about introducing all these new characters. I think Airwave gets a lot of pub again. Like, he was big in the Absolute Power, right? Because he was kind of the traitor, I think, right? But now it's his time for redemption, and you get some notes that possibly he's gonna be future important. You get Gold Beetle. Have we ever seen this character?
I don't think so. When I saw Gold Beetle, I was like,
okay, so yeah, this is I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's some sort of Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, multiversal thing going on. So we'll see about that. That may be a first for the character. So yeah, there's a couple of new characters. They name drop a bunch of old ones. There's a lot of action in this. It moves pretty quick.
It does. Yeah, for
sure. I would say as a non-DC kind of canon person who only is superficially into the lore, a lot's going on. If you were just trying to get into it, you could read this and go, I don't know anything. But I guess, it's just a bunch of characters that are going through time. So it'll be fun either way.
Yeah.
And it's a fun one-shot. You don't necessarily have to have read anything else. I think it's just as confusing if you had or you haven't. So So yeah.
Yeah, and you can by the end of this book, it's obvious that we're not done with these characters, but this is, I think, to be continued in Justice League Unlimited, and then DC's new Knockout KO.
Yeah, there's some new series there, and then of course the next big storyline for Darkseid that's coming up in the fall.
Yeah, I'm so excited about
I forget what it's called now, but it's got something with Legion in the title.
Which the DC KO, I feel like that's just that's really what fans want. I feel like.
I don't know much about it other than it's been announced, so I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Is that their version of Contest of Champions?
Essentially,
or
like putting it, heroes up against each other. Yeah,
gotcha. So,
now maybe we'll see. What the controversy will be. Who wins which battle, and they're like,
that gives you. I mean, there's almost every week someone comes in the store and says, who do you think would beat the other one? And then I go through and I tell them definitively what the real answer is.
Right, exactly.
Because I know all. But it was a fun book. Yeah, I think it's if you're reading Justice League, if you're interested in the DC All-In stuff at all, so I guess the little world building they're doing around this event, it's a must read, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For sure.
All right. Okay, so I guess I'll do one. You're going to do one that you haven't read. I'm going to do Spider-Man versus Wolverine, number 3. So I think in one of the other videos I talked about number 2. And again, another book that is just a lot of fun. This is not meant to convey any kind of
That's what I
message or have a bigger story. It's really, hey, I like Spider-Man, I like Wolverine, I like when they are either teaming up or battling each other. The second one was, like I said, a massive throwdown fight that had some big ramifications, and they do deal with it in this one. The ramifications from issue number 2, they do start to deal with that, but also they're just thrown randomly into the Savage Land, and then there's just dinosaurs, and now there's people hunting them, and again, I think the fun of this book is it's very fast paced. There's a lot going on. He's in the black costume. Wolverine's in his old school brown costume, so you get the throwback looks that are pretty cool. The art is very McFarlane-esque, so if you like that type of art, you're going to think that this is a 90s comic brought forward in time into the now. Cool. And it's just kind of a fun book. There's not much else to say about it. So there is a story, and again, there is some some lore ramifications going on. We'll see if it sticks or whatever. So, but yeah, it's not like this book is nothing. But yeah, it's just a fun read.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Seems like dinosaurs, kaijus. It seems like that's a really big thing.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Like across Marvel and DC both. So.
Yep. So yeah.
Cool.
So Savage Land Adventure. Yeah, that's all. I had not much to say about it. Just good.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. All right. Well, I kind of have a fun one up next. Is DC's Kal-El-fornia Love #1?
Yeah. So this is one of those specials that DC does every 4 months. They'll do a spring one and then a summer. Yeah, so this is their summer one.
Okay.
So they always do a spring one. They do a Valentine's Day one. They do a spring one, a summer one. Then they'll do one for like Halloween or something. DC loves to. Again, every 5th week they'll come out with one of these.
Interesting. So, I guess I haven't really even noticed. Yeah. I'm sure I probably have them too. So yeah. But no. So this is a one shot. It features 8 different stories. One Undone Stories of the Superman family.
Okay.
And one of the stories about Superman, which was where this giant monster falls from space and swallows Lois Lane and 2 children, and this mini story is about basically Superman saving Lois and these children from inside this monster's stomach. So
okay.
that was
right.
that was interesting.
Okay.
But I thought one of the funniest ones was the one about Jimmy Olsen. And I mentioned to you this a little bit earlier.
All right.
But it harkens back to Superman's, Jimmy Olsen, number 98 from 1966.
Okay.
And it's funny because, they had a little footnote at the bottom saying, Jimmy Olsen 98 from 1966. And it's basically about Jimmy's gorilla ex-wife, Bruna, is the star of a new movie and wants to get some exclusive photos for the Daily Planet.
Okay.
Well, she has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is Gorilla Grodd. so because they're both gorillas.
All
and so he's both not only her boyfriend but also her manager.
Okay.
So he's essentially like, hey, he has a confrontation with Gorilla Grodd first, and Jimmy's like, hey, if I challenge you to this series of gorilla games, you'll let me take these photos, right?
Okay.
And Gorilla Grodd's like, okay, but if I win, you die. so they go through these couple different and I don't think there was really an actual winner, which was really weird. There was a banana eating contest, right?
Okay.
And Jimmy Olsen wins.
Sure.
But then you're like, how is that even possible against Gorilla Grodd, a freaking gorilla? And he had a Phantom Zone device on his wrist that they catch him, and there's an altercation and stuff like that. So the bananas were just going into the Phantom Zone.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
But that story was hilarious. It was. I'm just like, this is just so out there that you're like, wait, what? You have this Jimmy Olsen, this reporter, and you're against Gorilla Grodd, and so then after that, what did I say her name? Bruna, and Jimmy have this kind of heart to heart where he's like, I'm sorry and stuff like that, and and then so he's like, hey, can I take your picture? And he takes the photo before she consents, and who's lurking around? Gorilla Grodd. So picks him up, throws him off the building, and then Superman saves him, obviously. So it was that was just hilarious. So now it makes me want to go back and read that issue that they were talking about. But some of the other stories were about Power Girl, Supergirl, Steel.
Okay.
And there's also a kind of a cool story about Lois Lane going on this true crime podcast, kind of, basically kind of outing them, be like, this, there's a whole conversation between her and this host of this podcast, and she's telling Lois, she's like, oh, you're just a reporter, media, newspapers are dying, and this and that, and Lois is like, no, I report the facts and things like that. So there's a little bit more to that story, but that was a good that was a good one. So overall, it was super fun. I really liked it. I wasn't sure about it at first because even the cover, I'm like,
it's goofy.
It is very goofy.
Yeah. But
fun. Really fun. So
okay. All right. So the last one for both of us, I think, is one we both read, and that is a tie-in to the One World Under Doom storyline that's going on in Marvel. So it's a Gods one-shot. So Gods was the book created by Jonathan Hickman, where, the basic idea is there's 2 upper-level deities. One is a science-based deity, and one's a magic-based deity. And then they kind of work together, but then they're also opposed. It's I don't know, it's one of those highfalutin Hickman concepts. So anyway, the main characters win. He's on the magic side of things. And this involves him having to interact with Emperor Doom, who's currently Emperor. So did you read the Gods series?
Yeah, by Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, is this necessary? is this necessary for, if you're reading that whole Doom thing, is this necessary? No,
I
wouldn't
don't
say
think
so.
Yeah.
But is it a good one if you're trying to keep up on what they're doing with the gods? Yes, and I think it sets up some stuff maybe in Doom's world later, possibly. Yeah. Right. So, because again, it revolves around a third character whose name is Mia, who is right now supposedly supposed to be the apprentice to Wynn, but catches the eye of Doom during the story, and so there's a little bit of, well, is she still going to stick with Wynn, or maybe move over to Doom and be his apprentice? So there's some stuff going on there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember this, but so like when the solicitation first came out with this, the way that it was written, at least to me, made me think that Wynn kind of had a plan to maybe stop Doom, but he doesn't seem to really care.
No, he's very specific that the two gods, especially his boss, I guess, or they don't care. Yeah. They care about the universe existing and the earth but they don't care about who's running the show. Yeah. So they're too high up to get involved in that. So yeah, Wynn is actually mad at Doom because he's not keeping up with his Sorcerer Supreme duties. He's letting those lax, and that's the issue that they have to try and solve. I guess there's just all this housekeeping stuff a Sorcerer Supreme has to do to keep the universe safe, and you let it go too long, and the windows fail or something like that. So yeah, I mean the whole story is just about them trying to solve a problem that Doom didn't take care of when it was necessary.
I just thought it was funny that they just transported right in Dr. Doom's inner sanctum. I'm just like, oh, okay,
yeah. And then of course Doom has to cover by it. Yeah, I knew you were coming, and I could kill you if I wanted to. So maybe tell me what's up. But it's obviously Doom knows about them. Wynn knows about Doom. So it's the constant between Doom trying to be like, I'm super powerful. I can take care of you anytime I want, and Wynn being like, well, I'm immortal, and you can go ahead and puff all you want, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So it's just kind of funny just the way they interact with each other, because Wynn's very low. He's very low energy. Yeah, he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I just got to do this, and just move on to something else. And I guess that's the big thing. Doom is constantly belittling him because again, he's not mortal, and he's working for somebody who doesn't really care about the day-to-day. And so he's always chiding about not having stakes in the game. And that's why he's always walking around going, whatever, kind of. And Wynn's always like, well, you say you're involved, but yet you have a job to do and you're not doing it, so you're not doing what's necessary. So it's interesting. And then me is the one in between, kind of, having to listen to both of them yap. So no, it's a fun story. It is, don't get me wrong. And it continues the kind of that God's universe that they obviously want to get back into at some point.
Yeah, because it deals with the sigils too.
Yes. Yeah. So, but Ryan North writes this one. It's not Hickman. Ryan North writes, who's writing the Doom stuff and the Fantastic Four. So obviously, so obviously he's in charge of this. So it's a good story. I enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. So yeah. So while not necessary, I do recommend it if you're reading all the other Doom stuff. So yeah. Okay. All right. Got anything else to say?
I don't think so. Okay.
It was one of those weeks. There wasn't there wasn't a lot of key books. But just some interesting stuff. So thanks for watching. We'll be back next week, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of just the regular ongoing titles we can talk about.
Yeah, super excited.
Okay. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.